definitely, before I actually introduce this young man that's getting ready to bless us right now, let me tell the world a little bit about my man, Mr. Reginald T. Dorsey. This man, if people go back and not just the archives and his appearances, I mean, going way back to the early to mid '70s, as far as being on the Book of Numbers and Good Times. I mean, I'm gonna roll off a whole bunch of shows that this man has been a part of, and he's had a footnote in. And as far as watching his career and his acting skills and things like that, I gotta tell y'all people, I'm more than privileged and blessed to be able to welcome my man, Mr. Reginald T. Dorsey, onto the New Truth Radio. Mr. Dorsey, how you doing,
yes,
sir?
Yes, sir.
How's
Can
everything?
You hear me, sir?
Loud and clear? Loud and clear?
All right. Brandon, it's a pleasure to be on your show, man.
Man, you know what? It is a pleasure. It seemed like it's been a long time coming, and it's just like I mentioned, man, to kind of start it off, man. I've been a fan of your work for a long time. Like I said, you kind of help bring back a lot of nostalgic memories, thinking about your acting skills, not just on Good Times, Hill Street Blues. People probably forgot Auto Man, but that was classic. Cagney and Lacey, Different Strokes. I mean, Magna P.I., 21 Jump Street. Come on, man. One by one, I can name off so many. And Knight Rider, got to remember that. 18. I just got to let the people know, like, you've had an opportunity to be on so many different classic shows throughout your career, and movies, being on South Central, which to me was not just a hood classic, but just one of those shows where it just had a powerful message. I mean, how do you feel when I roll off certain names of certain shows that you were a part of? What does that make you feel when I kind of think about certain things like that you were a part of?
Oh man, it's just a pleasure to still be here. To still be in the game, to still be productive, and to hopefully provide great entertainment for my audience.
So how's just acting life compared to when you first started? But I'm fans because my station here, we're all fans of Good Times. So we definitely remember your episode with the you played one of the warlords, Earl. I want to start there and then just fast forward to what's going on here and now. But when you look back at that and people kind of talk about different sitcoms and what kind of impact that they have had, what does it feel like being on an actual show like that still to this day means so much to a lot of us?
Oh man, it's an honor, especially to have come up in a time when there really wasn't a lot of work for African American actors, but the fact that we were able to grind and sort of kick the doors open a little bit, and to just still be here, as I said earlier, it's an honor and a pleasure. Those of us who were coming up in the 70s, and really trying to do great work, we were just trying to, make things happen, man, so that we could have a future in this game. And to still be here, to still have the friends that I had from way back then, again, it's just a pleasure, and I give thanks to God, that I've been able to make that journey, and hopefully for the future, do some better work, and work with a lot more diverse array of talent and things of that nature. So, I'm optimistic about the game, and just again happy to still be here. Blessed.
When you talk about the 70s and how it meant for a lot of African Americans to be able to see, a lot of what I always feel like, a lot of us just kind of being on the television screen and being proud of the fact that a lot of barriers were broken and have been broken throughout the years. When you look back at certain aspects of it now, do you feel fast forwarding it all to the future compared to going back to the past? Do you feel like a lot of people kind of take certain things for granted when it came to that? Like you kind of helped break the mold, so to speak, and help usher in, like, it's okay for good actors to be African American. And now when you fast forward, do you feel a lot of people kind of take it for granted, or it's kind of plateaued to the point where people do remember where they came from, so to speak?
In all honesty, no. No, I feel like, that far too many have forgotten,
Okay.
Far too many have forgotten about, the struggles that those of us who, as you put it, were in the game to break down doors.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of humility needs to be paid to that in terms of not only from a historical perspective, but just from a respectful perspective. Those were hard times, and
Right.
we were really trying to make a difference, and so all the privileges that we've been afforded today, they didn't just happen by chance. A lot of people sacrificed, a lot of people paid a lot of dues, and, some of us still are paying dues.
Absolutely.
I mean, there may be a few more of us working today, but the game hasn't changed a lot,
Right.
We've gotten more exposure. The money situation has gotten better, but, there needs to be more perspective in terms of passing it down and again, acknowledging, those who paved the way and really supporting, their careers to date, and making sure that they're still, viable and are having opportunities to work in this business. Because
Right.
that's really what it's all about. It's all about being able to share the love and to, to grow and learn from, those veterans and those who, actually paid their dues and paved the way for this newer generation.
I kind of come from that mold. I'm pretty sure you do too, Mr. Dorsey, Gav. I know you do too. The old saying goes, each one teach one.
Absolutely.
And it used to be like that with sitcoms too. Remember back in the day, like it seemed like one sitcom helped out another sitcom, and that kind of grew into, not just familiar faces being on the screen, but also just that camaraderie that was felt throughout, the acting business as far as, showcasing talent. We kind of went away from that. I don't know when it happened and why it got to the way it did, but it just seemed like that formula still would work in this day and age, right?
Yeah, as I've often said, stars are not born in Hollywood; they're made. Okay, and so just from a business perspective, one of the main things that a lot of newer talent and newer creative individuals get caught up into is that money is the bottom line,
Right.
and that's the biggest smokescreen in Hollywood. What I've often said is, he who controls the image controls the power, okay? So you have to be aware of what's being made here in Hollywood and sent around the world, okay?
Right.
So there are certain individuals, and, I love rap as much as anybody else. But when you put a rapper in a film who hasn't paid dues or who hasn't studied the craft of acting, you do a disservice to everybody who, has not only paid dues but are deserving of an opportunity.
Right.
And an opportunity to become, a working actor. And hopefully, if everything, pans out, maybe even a star. You know what I mean?
Right.
But, a lot of these cats from the rap game, and it's not their fault necessarily, again, it goes back to the industry and the image that they want to project worldwide of a particular culture, and quite often that being the African-American culture. We get a lot of stereotypes. We get a lot of negative images, and for those of us who have actually, studied the craft and who have a little bit of wisdom behind us, we can see game. We recognize game when it's coming our way,
Right.
And that's why you'll never see me, put on a dress in a film. There's certain standards that I've put
Thank God.
that I've put out there for myself, And
Right.
and the bottom line is that, I'm not knocking what somebody else does, but if you have a historical perspective of certain images that have been put out there, in terms of the African American culture, then you have a tendency to, maybe want to shy away, from
Right.
putting on a dress or from, playing a negative stereotype that has no redeeming qualities. You know, I'm an actor. I'll play anything as long as there's a redeeming quality or message within a film.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? You know, there's got to be something that will inspire people at the end of the story. You know, you mentioned South Central for an example.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that film, it dealt with gang banging, it dealt with thug life, but the bottom line, you know, Glenn Plummer's character in that film, he changed. He came, you
Right.
know, he had a 360-degree perspective, you know, once he got out of the pen and he went to go save his son.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that for me was the deciding factor to play, you know, the lead gang member of the Deuces inside the pen. You know, that alone made the difference for me. I said, okay, I could get with this because I can understand the perspective and the message of the film.
Right.
You know, and a lot of these cats, you know, that are coming from, you know, the rap game or, you know, from, you know, the singer side of the business or the music side of the business, they don't really understand that perspective. And they don't understand how powerful that image is. You know, studios throw them a script, and the next thing you know, they're just happy to be in a project, but they're not really looking at the damage that it may cause later on. You know.
That's right.
And for me, that's always an important perspective that I'm mindful of. You know, I want films that I'm a part of to not only inspire the African American community, but inspire the world that we live in. You know, because a lot of people need hope right now. A lot of people need positive reinforcement, and we just don't get a lot of that today.
And it's funny that you mentioned that, and Reginald T. Dorsey is our guest on the New Truth Radio. It's kind of like how you mentioned the rap game. You kind of mentioned it in a sense where it's just like, you know, I got a problem with it right now too, man. I'm like, you know, it's commercialized. It's not as authentic and creative as it used to be at one point in time. And it's just, and certain things on an acting level, not just what you see on television, but, you know, across the board. Like, you know, even that is not authentic. You know, creativity kind of seems to be gone nowadays, especially in television, right?
Oh, absolutely. You know, it's about respecting the craft first and foremost, you know. And, you know, in terms of authenticity, you know, where are the opportunities for those rappers that are out there that are doing positive stuff, you know, that are doing work that inspires a culture? You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
You know, I'm sure you heard about the situation that went down last week with, you know, the rapper Tyler, the Creator, and the whole Mountain Dew commercial.
I heard about that, yep.
Right. And then, you know, Lil Wayne coming out with this rap song, you know, that degrades the memory of Emmett Till. You know, those things have to be addressed, you know, and have to be dealt with in a way that not only, you know, educates those who are making those mistakes, but also passing down the knowledge to the audience that really needs to know the truth, you know, about what those things not only meant to us as a culture, but meant to, you know, America as a culture, you know. I mean, because, you know, everybody wasn't with what was going on, you know, with racism and what have you know, back in the 50s. You know, there were great people from all different cultures, you know, that were part of that movement to change the game, you know, and Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, you know, Muhammad Ali, people like that, they were on the forefront of it. And, you know, and they sacrificed a lot, you know, and then, you know, 40, 50 years later, we're not even paying the respect to that it deserves. We're not even paying the respect to, you know, what this man, Emmett Till, at 15 years old, died for. Come on now. You know, and again, that's why I said, you know, this business sometimes promotes the images that they know are going to degrade us universally around the world. And again, not only as an activist, but as an actor, I'm aware of those things. I'm aware of our culture and our history. And it's important that whenever I take a role or whenever I develop a film, that I'm mindful of those things to change a lot of the damage that's been caused to the African American culture. You know, not only here in America, but again, in terms of images around the world.
Man, and I completely agree, and that's game right here, because to me, I always feel like, and especially it's important for the younger generation of actors and actresses to be able to get that kind of game from you, because you've done it. Like I said, I've scraped the surface off just some of the things that you are a part of as far as, television roles and movies and stuff like that or whatever. So you have a broader perspective on the game itself. And these young kids nowadays, what would you say to them when they're looking or searching for roles and they're kind of deciding on whether to take it or not based on the creative role, the role that they're given? Like, what would you say to these young people out there that's really trying to, refine and define their craft and build a legacy?
First and foremost, study the craft. Study filmmaking, study acting. Look to the greats who inspire you. And I'm talking about, the Denzel Washingtons of the world, the Al Pacinos, the Robert De Niros, the Marlon Brandos, the Sidney Poitiers. And, a person who was a great hero of mine that I never had the opportunity to meet, but as a young actor coming up, I researched this man's history, and what he went through to make a way for me to be in this game, and that's James Edwards. And, James Edwards was before Sidney Poitier.
Right.
He was one of the ones who opened the door for him. So if you have that kind of perspective and appreciation for the craft, then, you won't make too many mistakes along the way, because you'll be aware of what's coming at you and how to deal with it. But when you work from right now and you have no historical perspective, then you're lost, because you'll never see the game when it's coming at you. You'll never see it. Wow.
Good game right there, man. Reginald T. Dorsey is our guest on The New Truth. And a couple of quick questions before we let you go. When you look back at your career and some of the stuff that you did, I've always wanted to ask you this, man. Like, what were some of your favorite roles to play? Let's go television first and movie second.
Well, of course, I have to. I have to say, in terms of TV, the role that kind of really opened me up to a broader audience was the character that I played on 21 Jump Street.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I did the pilot of 21 Jump Street with Johnny Depp. Actually, I had been hired before Johnny Depp in 21 Jump Street. So to do a 2-hour pilot and to work with him and, to just really see his potential, come to fruition, that was very special, and we had great chemistry, even though I was playing, the bad guy, we still mixed it up after hours, and to just be able to do the work that I did, or shall I say even have the opportunity to do it, they really gave me a lot of latitude, the director and the producers of the show. And
you played Tyrell, right? Tyrell, was that the name?
Waxer.
There you go, Waxer. That brings back, man. You know what? I think I want to say it wasn't too long, and I could have either swore I seen it like on a commercial somewhere. I'm not sure if it was on Centric or I seen like that episode, because they sometimes they'll run like a some classic 21 Jump Streets or whatever, Knight Rider. I remember seeing that not too long ago, and I was like, whoa, it's about man Reginald, man, Mr. Dorsey in there getting it in. Like, I remember the role, man. I just gotta say, man, this dude is good. He is good.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much. And again, it was just about having the opportunity and the latitude to bring what I could bring to that particular character. And, they kind of just blew the hinges off for me and just let me go. And that was the first time in any role that I'd ever had that opportunity, where the director was coming to me and actually asking me, my thoughts on, which way I thought this character should go. And just having that type of camaraderie, made the process just a lot easier to deal with. And, as a result of it, we got great response from the audience. And to the extent that I wasn't even a series regular on the show, but they kept bringing my character back, just because of the love that we were getting from the audience. And, like I said, it was the 2-hour pilot, the film, the TV show actually opened in Europe as a film. You know, that's what they thought about it over there.
Wow.
And, you know, that was just like, you know, major kudos for us. And,
Wow.
you know, next thing you know, Johnny Depp is doing his thing, you know, all over the world.
That's right.
Yeah.
Wow. What about the movie side of it? One of your favorites, you know, as far as what you've done in your career so far?
There's a few. You know, I have to say the very first film that I ever acted in when I was 13 years old, a film called Book of Numbers,
Okay.
because I had a chance to do something that I'd always wanted to do. And, you know, growing up in Texas, then moving to California, then going back to Texas, you just don't see yourself having that type of opportunity. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I've often said that when something is a divine destiny for you, nothing can stop it. Nothing
That's right.
can stop it. And so here I am in Texas, you know, at 13 years old, and I go into the shopping mall with my mother one day because she had heard about some movie that was shooting there where they were hiring extras, and the producer and director of the film saw me, started taking pictures of me, and the next thing you know, I had a lead role in the film, you know, with no training behind me at the time.
Wow.
And I was smart enough to go to class after that. You know what I'm saying? I knew that if I wanted to have a career in this, that I needed to respect it, and I needed to get in class and learn the craft. And that's what I did. You know, you can have all the natural ability that one can possibly have, but you still have to, you know, really, like I said, learn the nuances and the craft of the business. You know?
That's right.
And not only that, and the business side of the business.
That's right.
You know, but Book of Numbers, I have to say, you know, is definitely a jewel in that crown. And, of course, South Central, and my latest film, Kings of the Evening, that I star in with Tyson Beckford, Glenn Turman, Lanata Washington, and Lynn Whitfield. It's a film that I produced, and it's now out on DVD.
And people can actually go to the website kingsoftheevening.com, right, to be able to check everything out, and it's available on DVD. Like this acting icon just kind of put out there for you people, so you can go check it out. And it's very, very good, very powerful, very strong. Like, you know, and I know you've done a lot of directing, producing, and things like that too. Like, you know, and I seen somewhere that, you know, even stunts, like you do your own stunts too.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've done quite a few of my own stunts. You know, the other part of my life is that of a cowboy. You know, I have 2 horses that I raise.
All right.
You know, I've rodeoed my whole life, and you know, growing up in Texas, it was natural for me, you know, to only have that in my repertoire, you know, with my grandfather being a cowboy and what have you. So, you know, it was just something that I continued as I continued to grow. And, you know, although I'm here in Hollywood, you know, and making movies and what have you, that's what I do to get away from the business. You know, Robert Duvall said something years ago when it comes to you know, having a career as an actor and whatnot. You have to have hobbies too. Hobbies, hobbies, and more hobbies. Because the more things you do outside of the acting career, the better actor you'll become. Because you've taken on different experiences. You've taken on different things and different cultures, different ways of life. You've met interesting people along the way. All those things are part of what makes great actors.
What's in store for you now in 2013? What are some of the what is your battle plan going into, you know, the summer, the rest of this year, and then 2014?
You couldn't have put it any better than you just stated it. Battle plan.
Got that right, man.
Even after all this time in the game, you know, it's still a battle every day. You know, and especially for an individual like me, you know, and I don't say that, you know, with anything other than love. You know, I love what I do, not only as an actor, as a filmmaker. You know, I'm very passionate about it. You know, I respect the fact that here you are, you know, a young man, who has seen my work along the way and who it has touched, that really touches my heart, because that's the kind of work that I always wanted to be a part of,
That's
work
right.
that really touched people and, just gave them a little bit of inspiration here and there, or maybe just, an insight to maybe something that they wanted to try, that might have been challenging, but to go for it regardless. And so for me, the next move that I'm making, I have some projects that are in development right now that I'm working to bring to the big screen. First and foremost, I've got a contemporary Western that I'm working on. And, just, hey, looking for money to get it made and put it out there,
There you go.
And
being a Texas man, Reginald, I wouldn't expect you to do no less than to try to knock out a Western, of course. Being a Texas guy. Right?
And to knock one out that's not watered down, by Hollywood. I'm talking about, something that you could see and go, okay, that's real.
Right.
I've had a chance to do Westerns in the past. I did The Cherokee Kid with Sinbad, Ernie Hudson, A. Martinez, James Coburn, Gregory Hines, a number of great actors. That was a great gig to work on. And I did Return the Lonesome Dove with Louis Gossett Jr. and John Voight, two Academy Award-winning actors.
Classic.
So that's in my blood. If I could make Westerns all day, that's what I'd do, to be quite honest with you.
Straight up, I got you.
Yeah, but everything else that I'm doing, that's where, hey, I'm acting, But when I do a Western, that's me,
To the core. Like I said, as a Texas guy. Reginald T. Dorsey is our guest on The New Truth. Before I let you go, I got to ask you about social media, and, you're what I call, and not just an OG as far as in acting and everything else, but you've seen so many generations kind of, of different things come on, not just in acting and television. I don't want to talk about reality shows because, my whole thing on that is not good at all. So let's put that in the trash where it belongs. But my question is, from seeing all the stuff that you've seen, from TV to movies and all that stuff, how do you feel about this social media age? Because, we cross paths on Facebook, so,
right.
Shout out to Facebook. Shout out to Facebook, right?
Hey, man, I'm still learning it, but, for the most part, I think it's a great tool, I think it's a great tool to promote, whatever your passions are. It's a great way to meet new and exciting people. But there's sometimes you got to screen it too, and
amen to that.
And there's some times when, you can't put all your business out there,
That's right.
So I think if people could learn to filter, their emotions a little bit more, then, they'd probably be a lot more productive, But I'm not trying to hear about, the fight that you had with your boyfriend, and now you're sharing it with the world, and nobody knows you.
Preach.
And then you open yourself up for everybody else to comment on how stupid you are for being with him. And then you turn around and get mad because people commented on the situation, and they don't even know you.
Preach.
So I could use a little bit less of that, but in terms of reaching a broad audience, as a filmmaker and as an actor, I think it's a great tool. And and in terms of making connections and building relationships, like you said, the way you reached out to me, and I'm just really thankful for my audience, that have gravitated to the social networks that I'm on, and who continue to reach out to me. And the irony of it is that I get a lot of compliments based on the fact that I'm one of only a few actors that actually get back to folks, which is a surprise to me, because I'm thinking, it's not like you got my email address or my phone number, so, why can't I say hello or thank you, if you give me a compliment?
That's right.
Yeah.
See,
So
preaching to that choir, man. And he's on Facebook. He will only let real ones in. So if you go to facebook.com/Reginald.T.Dorsey, he'll probably pre-screen you first before he lets you in.
well, hey, Brandon, I got a fan page, so that's pretty open to just about anybody. So
there you go.
If you're interested, holler at me, and
that's right.
as long as you're respectful, I'll holler back.
There you go. And we got to make sure we let the people know too. He has Twitter. Go to Reginald T. Dorsey on Twitter. He's there.
And I need followers on there because I'm still trying to figure Twitter out. If I'm at Roscoe's, I'm not trying to tell everybody I'm at Roscoe's. I'm still. Maybe you could help me understand that. I don't want everybody to know where I am.
That's
at
right.
any given moment. That's
right. Come on, man. I got your back. It's the least. As much work as you put in, I always feel like not just doing radio and having you on and stuff like that, man. Like, hey, I'll help you out with Twitter. We'll work it out, man. So that's nothing. We'll definitely get.
Please do. Come
on, man. I'll be your sidekick, man. It's not a problem. It's not a problem.
Work. I appreciate that. Hey, bro, one hand washes the other.
You got that right. Right, man. I'm here to support and in closing, man. I wanna make sure that on behalf of the staff, and I know Gab's handling things on his end, and behalf of the staff at Nexxlegacy Radio, we thank you not just for calling in and hanging out with us and letting your fan base and your new fan base know what's going on with you, but thank you for all the work that you've done, man. Like I said, I've called off so many different shows and movies and everything, and to me, it's only fair that growing up with you, and if I have an opportunity to be able to do something to express my gratitude, I mean, this is really nothing, man. If you want me to wash your car, I'll do that. Wax it too, I'll do that.
hey, man, I just want to tell you, love back to you. Love back to you tenfold. I'm humbled. You know what I mean? And what I do, man, is a job. I happen to get a little bit of exposure for it. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, I found my voice a long time ago, as a young artist coming up in the game. And I just wanted to be that cat, that when I got an opportunity, I could make a positive difference.
Absolutely, and you have. And you have, not just to me and Gab, like I said, but to all the people worldwide listening. And, shout out to a guy that I know that's checking you out, too, that I definitely want to pair you guys up, Mr. Michael T. Williamson, of course, actor, Bubba Gump, Forrest Gump.
So that's my boy.
And
me and Michael T., we worked together on the Buffalo Soldiers.
Absolutely. We just...
Look.
Go
ahead.
ahead.
I did stunts on the Buffalo Soldiers, okay?
That was you, huh?
That was me. Look, I should have had a lead part in it, but that's a whole other story for another day. Okay? I'm sitting there, coming off the back of horses and stuff and ride for people that never seen a horse. And they got lead roles in the film, but again, that's a whole other story for another day. I ain't mad at nobody. Michael T. was one of the ones who could ride,
There you go.
But Hollywood does still have its politics, and that's
Absolutely.
why I became a filmmaker,
There you go.
So that I could make sure that the people who were deserving of an opportunity actually got it.
Well, I got to pair you guys up again because I definitely want to see you guys do, bigger than life things and just, with any and everything. I mean, I'm a major supporter, and I'm gonna keep supporting. So, and like you said, as far as I do enough homework on you, man, from the moment you started acting, bruh. So, it's not a problem for me. I've caught everything that you saw, seriously, as a supporter. So, trust me, there's a lot of us out there that definitely appreciate your acting talent, and we want to continue to see you do a lot more, man. So, man, I appreciate you tuning in, and don't be a stranger, man. Come back and, hang out with me and the listeners anytime. And then, when you do come back next time, we can take some phone calls and let the callers call in and hang out, right?
I would love to.
Let's do it. Appreciate it.
I would love to, And in spite of what Hollywood says in terms of me not having an audience or, a broad enough name around the world, blah, 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 it's people like you that make my day. Thank you.
Hey, you know what? Hey, trust me, man. You didn't make my decade, man. What are you talking about? Man,
well,
thanks for the blessing, man. Much love. Shout out to your team and shout out to you, man. And I want to, anytime you got something on the horizon that's about to go down, definitely make sure you keep tabs and let me know what's going on so I can definitely go support it.
Absolutely, and much love to your audience too.
Appreciate it.
Thank them on my behalf.
You got it, man. They listening to you worldwide right now. We got you.
All right, peace and love, y'all.
That's my man, Mr. Dorsey, Reginald T. Dorsey, as our guest, man. Blessings to you, man. We'll be at you.
Thank you, and pump that Facebook page and that Twitter page, bro.
All day long.
All right.
You got
Appreciate
it.
you.
Much
God
love.
bless. Peace.
Nexxlegacy.